Hi, I'm James, and today I'm talking about Gretsch guitars. Well, specifically this Gretsch that I've got sitting here. I've been wanting a model like this for about a year and a half, and I was going to order one, and then suddenly a second-hand one came up at Coda Guitars, and I'm really happy I managed to get hold of it. I had to sell quite a nice Collings semi-hollow guitar to pick this one up, but I'm really glad I did. Now, I'm not sure exactly what you call this model. It's a duo jet. But duo jets can be this shape or they can be more of a single cut shape. But here's the code number, and that's where Gretsch's quirkiness sort of starts, but it does not end there. This guitar is full of amazing weirdnesses and wonderful sounds and unnecessary flourishes, I should say, not blemishes. That almost came out as blemishes. Certainly not. Well, unless you count heavy relicking as blemishing, which maybe you do. But look, Gretsch are sort of mainstream and sort of not. I can't really think of any of my favourite players that played Gretsch or play Gretsch, but I'm not sure why. The sound is brilliant, but it's not Gibson and it's not Fender. Now this is a Gretsch custom shop master built, and I'm lucky I picked it up second hand. I've been wanting a model like this. I've been wanting a red one, to be fair, a 62 duo jet. And I actually found a vintage one at Guitar in Camden, but it was in terrible condition. And actually for the same price as that one, I got this one in fantastic playing sort of setup and condition and sound. And I want to take you through this guitar. It's going to be quite a basic sort of look at the quirks of the Gretsch Duo Jet as the custom shop master builder is making it now. Now, firstly, Gretsch has flair. I love their branding. I love everything they do is just unique and different. So why don't we take a close-up look at the actual appearance of the guitar, and then we'll take a look at the weird wiring and how it sounds and why it's like that. And then in a follow-up video, which will come out later this week or next week, I want to do a comparison between the Filtertrons in here and some P90s and some humbuckers, and maybe even some Telecaster pickups, because I'm sure people are confused as to what a Tron pickup really sounds like or what it's supposed to sound like, and I'd like to clear that up a bit. But yeah, sit back, let's have a look at this, the Gretsch G6128-CS something, I think. Right, here we go. Okay, it's very rare that I would want to start looking at a guitar by looking at the end of the fretboard. But what is going on here? This is unusual, to say the least. The fretboard sort of comes off the end of the neck, over the top of the guitar body, like a sort of, I don't know, aeroplane runway, you know? It just sort of takes off. And I love this about early 60s and late 50s things. There's an optimism about the future and a sort of, well, Jetsons styling that I think I'm fond of. Now, this is the first guitar I've had out of about 40, let's say, my wife has ever called sexy. In fact, she doesn't really look at most of my guitars in any particular way. She likes the sound of some of them. This one she really liked the look of. As one of my friends, Nico Giordano, guitar maker, says, it's a fast-looking guitar because of the way it has low double cuts. Now the Duo Jet, I believe, can come as a single cut or as this shape, and this is probably the less favoured shape. The other one looks a bit like a Les Paul, but it's slightly different. I always wanted this one. It's a sort of SG come something else, its own thing, can't really compare it. Now, we'll continue looking at the looks in a second, but let me give you some specs. There's a particular scale length here, shorter than a Gibson. It's 24.6 instead of 24 3/4 inches. And on top of that, these are generally chambered bodies. I think it'll have a laminate maple top and a chambered maple back and maple neck. And I think this looks like an ebony fretboard. On top of that, there's an unusual sort of rocker bridge that you can see here, where the bridge is on top of, you know, a piece of ebony or something like that. Then we've got the Bigsby. We've got the Gretsch pickguard, which I normally don't like any sort of branding on that. There's a couple of guitars that came in their original days with things like this written on the pickguard. I particularly like the Gretsch written on there. It just stands out. It's not ugly or out of place. Filtertron pickups, well, we're going to take a closer look at those in a second because Gretsch don't even call them pickups. They call them something else. We'll get there. And the knobs and switches are unusual looking, very custom in their nature, and do things that you might not even need. But back to the looks, we'll get to the pickups and the wiring in a second. The binding is off the charts. They've really gone all out here with, you know, black and white binding and then taut. And even on the neck, it's like that. And tiny little bits of binding and perfect. It's so perfectly done. I think it's great. Now, on some Gretsch guitars, it might be slightly overdone. You know, you can get all sorts of sparkly oranges and things. But I think on this particular model, or this color, the red taut is classic, classy. I like it. Now, the paint is a sort of white, but it's been aged really nicely at the custom shop, and all of this relicking and beautiful checking, you know, it's a little spider's web of checking here, and I like how random it is. It looks pretty natural. The fretboard doesn't have center markers like normal. It has these ones on the edge, which are really useful for the player because I can't normally necessarily see the front dots of the markers, but in this case, they're sort of at the edge. You can see them, and it still has the side dots. The neck is, I'm not sure what I'd call the shape. It's reasonably big, not massive. It's not the most comfortable neck I've ever had, and it's quite a flat feeling radius. I'm assuming it's a 12, but I'm not 100% sure, 12-inch radius. Okay, what else? There's the Bigsby. I do love a Bigsby. And on this guitar, you need a Bigsby. It just goes with the style and the feel of the guitar and the way the bridge is set up and everything. And it sounds great. Okay. Let's have a look at the knobs, the switches, and the pickups. Now, when I first got the guitar home, I wasn't actually sure what everything did, and I'd been at the shop with my mate Stuart of Sunbear Pickups, who also bought a second-hand master-built Gretsch that day that he loves, a different model. And we couldn't work out at the shop exactly what was going on here. We had some guesses. I think we turned out to be right, but it comes with this little booklet about the Filtertron and the wiring. And I love this. When the Filtertron came out, look, it filters out hum, neon noises, crackle, and electrical disturbances. So all the things a professional guitar player needs to filter out. Now, on the inside, it goes through a history and a layout, which is great. But what I love is they don't call the pickups pickups, they call them heads. I guess a bit like recording heads in a studio. And Filtertron single head offers stereo singing sound, brilliant highs, mellow lows, ultra modern styling, extra lively response, no hum, no neon buzz, no electrical disturbances, just pure sound. And I love it. I can imagine the sort of Pathé reel sound over the top of that, you know, the sort of clipped voice of the early 60s. Now, I'm going to quickly take you through the positions and knobs. Right, steady yourself. It's unusual. Okay, over here we have the pickup select. Let me put that back in the middle. That's default, that's the default, that's the default. Right. Pickup head selector, neck. Both. Bridge. Master volume, down and up. Neck head volume, bridge head volume, standby switch. On, standby, on. This and this are the same thing. And this is your tone. This is the default. And then there's basically two fixed sort of resistor or capacitor, I'm not sure, positions. That's one there, and that's one there. So in today's video, I've been using the 2-Rock Classic Reverb Signature in the default gain structure position, and with a reasonable amount of gain. I wanted to go for a sort of clean amp rather than a Tweed or a Marshall, which I'll use in other videos because I wanted to just hear the sort of basic character. And the more driven clips at the beginning and end of the video are using the Vemuram Janray with a fair amount of gain. So that's volume on the left at the top, gain on the right, bass on the left at the bottom, treble on the right, and it just gives a pretty overdriven sort of tube driven sound. So there you go, the quirky Gretsch Duo Jet G6128-CS, and I love this thing. It does its own thing, it sounds unique. We haven't really talked about the sound as I normally do because, as I said, I'm going to do a comparison video. We're going to hear an SG with humbuckers, a Les Paul with humbuckers and a Bigsby, and a P90 Les Paul as well, in comparison in the next video. Oh, and a Telecaster as well. So I love what Gretsch are doing. Even their standard model guitars are, the personality runs through the whole line. Doesn't matter what you spend, Gretsch are just unique and do their own thing. They have really fun finishes, lots of glittery stuff, different colors, lots of different bindings. Obviously there's all the different sort of pickups, the Filtertrons and the Dynasonics and others, which we'll talk about more in the next video. But this guitar to me is so unique that I couldn't really ever replace it. I might need more Gretches, to be honest. Something hollow, something single cutty, whatever. Those will come in future, I'm sure. But this is like dipping my toe for the first time and realizing there's a whole world of Gretsch that just takes you away from the standard, the normal, you know, what we've got used to with the other brands. And I love the fact that Gretsch exists. And so I welcome its quirks, even if they take a minute to get your head around. Okay, we will talk about the sound more in the next video about this guitar. But I hope you enjoyed looking at the unusual character of this Gretsch and seeing what sort of oddities the Gretsch master builders and designers in general come up with. Okay, I guess we'll hear a clip on the way out. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. My 12,000 sub giveaway is happening at the end of the week, and you just need to subscribe to the channel and you have a chance to win a set of PAFs made by Stuart at Sunbear. So Sunbear 59 SB PAFs, really sought after wicked pickups. I've got some myself, and he's going to make a set with whatever cover color you want and aging. So thank you, Stuart. And so yeah, subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
Yeah.